So we've got an arithmetic sequence, 3, 10, 17, 24, and we're asked to find term 15. There's two ways you could go about this. You could say, well, I notice that I'm adding by 7, so I could just keep adding by 7 and write things out until I get 15 of them, and then I would know I have the right answer. It's not a bad strategy, but if I asked you to find term 2000, it's a very tedious strategy that could take a long time. The other thing that we can do is we can say, well, I have a formula that is on my formula sheet that says, since this is an arithmetic sequence where I have a common difference, because I'm adding 7 each time, I know that my common difference, my d value, is equal to 7. I can write a formula for this. My general term, any term, is equal to term 1, which happens to be 3. My common difference is 7 times n minus 1. So this is a formula for the general term in this specific sequence. If now I want to find term 15, well, term 15 means that I'm replacing this n with 15. And if I replace n with 15, I'd replace n with 15 in that part of the formula, which we saw before means that we're going to be adding 7 14 times to that first term. So you can take out your calculator. 7 times 14, 98 plus 3, 101. Is that the answer that it says at the bottom? Yes. Good. So there we have that we can find term 15 is 101. And using the formula is probably a little bit quicker than actually adding 7 each time until you get 15 of them. Now for part B, we've still got our formula that we figured out. Term 1 was 3, common difference was 7. Here was our formula, and they say that there is some term with a value of 220. Now, we don't know which term that is, but the 220 will go in for this whole thing. Even though we don't know what term n is, even though we don't know what n is, we do know that there is some term n that's equal to 220. The only thing we don't know is what that n is. What is that n value? So whenever you're told that there is a value, in fact, if we go back to the question and just as far as adding our notes to help us remember this, whenever a question is asking which term, they're asking you to find n, because the n value tells you which term. Term n, the n value tells you which term. When they tell you the value, that's the general term that we're trying to find, even though we don't know n. Okay? And sometimes this can cause your brain to have, trouble you a little bit, because how can I know Tn if I don't know n? Is the thing that sometimes people have trouble with. Well, it's because you know what the term number is, you just don't know which one it is. So whenever we get these questions that are asking us which term, you're going to want to say, I'm trying to find n, and I have a value, so I know the value of Tn. So when I go to my formula for Tn, I put in the value of 220, and then the only thing I have left to solve for is the n. So now it's your algebraic skills that you've learned in grade 9 and grade 10. You want to get n by itself. Start by distributing the 7 to both of those. Combine your like terms. Oh, I had an equal sign turn into a plus sign. Sorry about that. There we go. Whew. Got a bunch of like terms here. If you want, you can put the 3 and the minus 7 together. If you would like, you can put them all on the other side already. So let's just, if I put the 3 and the minus 7 together, I would have minus 4. If I add 4 to this side, I'd have to add 4 to this side. And now, if I divide by 7, I get what? 31? 32? Thank you. So the question is asking which term? It is term 32. So now that we've finished this one, the questions that we can do regarding this one are questions 6 and 15. And I'd like to give you 5 minutes to work on 6 and 15, or if you want to work on 4, 5, and 7 from the other one, you can do so right now, and I'll come around and help you if you're getting stuck on any of these things.